Hi, Senator Tammy Baldwin here. I am with my colleague, Senator Patty Murray. We're both on the Appropriations Committee.
Yeah.
And what are we here to do?
We are here to answer some Google search questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Oh, hold that board. Okay. What are appropriations in Congress? That is such a good question. It's a big word, but it actually just means who writes the checks. For any family, the person who's writing the checks decides where that money's going to go. Here in Congress, we have a much broader array of things than family homes. We fund everything from defense to VA medical to agriculture to labor, health, human services, education. I mean, so many things. So we decide how much each of those accounts will have and then appropriate the dollars to them.
Yeah. So the appropriations process is called for in the Constitution. Congress writes the budgets, Congress passes appropriation bills, and then it's supposed to be the president who implements what we do.
Which is
right?
what the problem is right now.
That's exactly right.
This president has decided he doesn't care what Congress does. The Constitution says it's up to Congress. Why? Because we're elected by our constituents and we have the responsibility to make sure their taxpayer dollars go to what they want. So we have been fighting really hard this year to reassert to the president it is our power, and we are fighting hard for that.
The power of the purse strings, the power to decide how programs that people rely on are funded. Yeah. Let me see. I'm going to pull off the next one.
Okay.
Google search here. All right. Why do Republicans want to cut Medicaid? I can tell you what they say and why they say. The problem is there's no truth to it.
Yeah.
So they have said we want to go after fraud, waste, and abuse. They've cut $1 trillion out of Medicaid over the next decade, which they predict will mean that about 10 million Americans will actually lose their health care coverage because of what they're doing. And this is far beyond fraud, waste, and abuse.
It is far beyond, and they're throwing out things that are not true. Money doesn't go in Medicaid to illegal immigrants. It does not. They don't qualify. So why are they doing this for real? Because they wanted to give a tax cut to the wealthiest Americans, and they needed a source of funding, and they're taking it from Medicaid.
Absolutely. And did that Medicaid cut of $1 trillion cover their tax breaks for billionaires and big corporations? No. We're going $3.5 trillion more in debt because of that bill.
Amazing, isn't it?
Let's borrow to give tax breaks.
Always the ones, we need to balance the budget, we need to balance the budget. They turn around, they take money away from people who need their health care to give to their billionaire friends, and they take us into debt. It's crazy.
It is. I will mention, as an aside, in that big ugly bill that they passed, they also cut nutrition assistance programs. And that has been, again, they take money away from the most vulnerable in society, nutrition, health care, in order to pay for tax breaks for billionaires.
I know why. If you look at Trump's inner circle and all of his cabinet members, they're all billionaires. They have no idea that the rest of us know people who need basic health care on Medicaid. Maybe they have a fragile child, maybe they have a parent who lives in a nursing home. These are our friends, our neighbors, people we live with. I think that billionaire cabinet has no idea what the rest of the country lives with.
They don't know about people who live paycheck to paycheck and what big increases in healthcare costs, or childcare costs, or housing costs mean to them. Right, your turn.
Why is the government shut down right now? Well, it's pretty easy. This is a simple question. Republicans want to shut down government because they don't want people to get tax credits to help them pay for their health insurance. That's a huge issue right now because as of November 1st, a lot of people are going to find out that their insurance, their health insurance coverage is going to double or even triple. Why is that? Because Republicans don't want to extend the tax credits for people who are on the ACA.
We're shut down in part because President Trump and Republicans in Congress refused to negotiate. Plain and simple. The big ugly bill was devastating to access to health care for vulnerable Americans. It was a huge tax bill. It gave tax credits and tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. But when working families needed a tax break to be able to afford their health insurance, was that in their bill? No, wasn't there at all. We are fighting to resolve at least a piece of this health crisis that they've created. And it's urgent right now because on November 1st, people are gonna start shopping for their health insurance for next year. And they are gonna see skyrocketing costs.
That's right. And I think it's important for people to understand there is a Republican president, a Republican majority in the Senate, a Republican majority in the House. In order to pass a continuing resolution, we always say, how do we make sure we pass it in the Senate, where you need actually Democratic votes to help it? Normally, the majority party, in this case Republicans, would come to Democrats and say, how do we make sure we have enough of your votes, in this case 8 or 9? And we would say, well, this is one of the conditions. No, they didn't want that. They just wanted to say, our way, highway, we don't care, and no, we're not going to even talk to you about what you need in this bill. So we want to open the government, but we also want to make sure you get those tax credits that you deserve.
Start from that end. What are Affordable Care Act tax credits?
Good question.
Well, they are tax credits that allow people to afford their health care premiums. When we created the Affordable Care Act, it was a significant step forward for people for all sorts of reasons. Prior to that, insurance companies could just cherry pick the healthiest patients to cover and could say no to people who were sick or had been sick, had pre-existing health conditions. We fixed that in the Affordable Care Act and had so many other important provisions, getting rid of lifetime caps and annual caps and
staying on your parents' health insurance.
That was a provision I wrote when I was in the House. I'm very proud of that. We knew that lower income people, especially working families, would need help. And the tax credits were a part of the original Affordable Care Act. And then during the pandemic, when it was so essential that more and more people have access to affordable health care, some were losing their employer-sponsored health care, there were all sorts of circumstances going on, and of course it was a public health crisis. And so we created the enhanced tax credits, and those are going away. Yeah. And people are seeing, on average, a doubling of their insurance costs. In some cases in Wisconsin now, I have cases that I've heard of in one county where people will see 800% increases.
And they can't afford it.
Tens of thousands. Right. They certainly can't afford that. And so we need to extend these.
I think some people go, well, I don't have those tax credits, so it doesn't impact me. Well, let me tell you, it is going to impact you big time, because the people will not be able to afford their health insurance. They will drop out. They will not get it. We'll go back to where we were 10 years ago. People didn't have insurance, but they still need care. So they show up in the emergency room.
Right.
They show up when they're seriously ill.
The most expensive settings.
The most expensive settings. They cost more. And because they aren't able to pay for it, everybody who has insurance pays higher premiums. We're going back to that rapidly. Why? Because Republicans refuse to do a simple thing and extend those tax credits.
That's right. Let's see, you get the bottom one, I'll get the top one here. I think it's one question.
Oh, it's one question, okay.
All right. How many Americans will lose coverage if the GOP ends the ACA tax credits? Well, by virtue of that failure alone, it'll be about 4 million. That's the estimate. Frankly, as I'm seeing people in Wisconsin learn what their costs are going to be, I think that may be an underestimate.
Oh, I do. I just talked to a couple that were paying $800. They just saw what their new bill is going to be, $2,100 a month, and she just said, "There's just no way that how do I ever pay that? $2,100 a month for health care." So you know what they're going to do? Drop their coverage.
I know. And the devastation that can come if something awful happens, an accident, an illness, You know, people need health insurance coverage.
Yeah,
this
and
is
they're
how
telling me,
entrepreneurs cover themselves.
Correct, and they're telling me I'm either going to have to close my business or not offer insurance to myself and my employees, and then we're all going to be in that big pool of people who are costing me money.
I talked to a farmer in central Wisconsin who she and her husband and all their employees use the Affordable Care Act. So it's small businesses going out of business, but also how do restaurants keep their employees from going to big corporations that can provide health care for them, employer-sponsored health care? Part of it is because they have an affordable option for their employees, and they can stay doing something they love versus having to change jobs just for the health insurance.
Yeah, this is just such a stressful time. There's no need for this. And it's just so frustrating to me. The Republicans won't even talk to us about this.
Yes.
They just say, no, we're not going to do it.
And by the way, this is on top of the estimate of how many people are going to lose their health insurance because of the Medicaid cuts.
Right.
I think the total estimate was 15 million people will lose their health coverage because of the cuts to Medicaid and the possible end of the Affordable Care Act tax credit. But that's why we're fighting.
That is why we're fighting.
Where did Tammy Baldwin go to college? Well, I went to Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts, which, by the way, this year is celebrating its 150th birthday.
There you go. Okay. Oh, does Patty Murray have a twin sister? Oh, yes, I do. And people think she is me all the time. I feel very bad for her, often. But worse, she was a middle school teacher. I have people come up to me and say, you were my best middle school teacher. And I have to say, no, I wasn't. So yeah, I do have a twin sister.
An identical twin sister.
Yeah.
We were just talking last week about how many sets of identical twins there are
in the
Senate. It's really rare.
Yeah.
And we have 3.
Mark Kelly, Brian Schatz, and myself. Who knew?
Who knew? I wonder if we're missing any others. I'll have to ask.
Yeah.
Are Tammy Baldwin and Tina Smith related? We are not related, but we get confused for one another all the time. All the time.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, why is Patty Murray the mom in tennis shoes?
Great question.
Well,
tell us.
And I still have them on. Because many years ago, my state legislature decided to cut a preschool program that my kids were in. And I didn't know anything about politics, but I drove down to our state capitol and started asking them why they were defunding the preschool program. And a legislator told me, you're just a mom in tennis shoes, you can't make a difference. Ooh, was I mad. I drove home. I started calling every other mother I knew. We started calling every other parent we could, and pretty soon we had 13,000 parents. We inundated the state capitol, and we got the funding back for that program, and I'm still wearing my tennis shoes.
I just have to ask, did you then just run for office?
I ran for office after that.
Yes.
And people would say to me all the time, what made you want to run? And I said, well, I learned that you can make a difference. Anybody can make a difference, even a mom in tennis shoes. So that was my caption, and people wore tennis shoes, I have tennis shoe fly swatters. People are giving me.
I love it. I love it. Are Tammy Baldwin and Andy Samberg cousins?
Are they?
We are cousins.
Seriously, I didn't know that. Okay.
And we are third cousins.
Counts.
So our parents were second cousins, and our grandparents were first cousins.
Well, there you go.
And somebody said, like, okay, so your cousins, do you see each other a lot? It's like, how often do you see your third cousins?
Yeah, okay.
We have met. But
Okay, well, that's good.
Family
Fantastic.
reunion, it was great.
I learned a lot about you today. That's great.